So hello and welcome to today's episode of Bloody Mysteries. Now today's episode is on the werewolf, and no, this isn't a re-upload of the 2017 video or another remake of the one from December 2010. Instead, this video is a look into the history of the werewolf myth and how it became Blooddy's most popular myth and more. So sit back and let's begin. The rumour began very shortly after Blooddy's original release on the PlayStation 2, where some players heard some very strange sounds that could be heard around the greasers and jocks areas. If you head down here during the night time, you can actually hear some howling. Now, players who had passed Chapter 3 noticed the same howls could be heard anywhere around the woodland area, which was unlocked in the race against Johnny Vincent. There were also some strange boarded up caves around these parts, which only fueled a theory that something mysterious was here, most likely a werewolf. So this caused a massive flurry of all kinds of theories and mysteries about how to find the supposed werewolf. Some believing the werewolf was a student who transformed, as well, if you know your history of werewolves, you'll know that werewolves are apparently people who transform during a full moon, and others believing that these boarded up caves might be hiding the creature somehow. Anyway, as some people believe the werewolf was a student who just transformed, others believe it was some rare secret encounter that could only be met through specific circumstances. There were quite a lot of hints to actually back up the werewolf's existence as players did more investigating around the map of Bulworth as this rumour first began developing. First of all, the howling. Now what makes this unusual is there's no animals to be seen around Bulworth, except for a dog and some crappy 2D bird PNGs. There are no other animals anywhere to be found in the game, there's like no cats or anything like it to appear. So this howling did give a good hint that maybe something was out there just waiting to be found. Now some people also believe that this could be a coyote, as they are quite native to the New England area, which is where Bloody is actually set. Now Happy Vault's Asylum also played a somewhat big role in this myth. As it has its own really creepy, unsettling mystery, Happy Vaults also seem to coincide with many other Bloody myths, such as the alien and of course our beloved werewolf. For example, inside the asylum, towards the back where you escape with Johnny Vincent, there's a rather mysterious wall of X-rays. And these are definitely not human X-rays. Out of all of these, however, this particular scan here seems to be the one that's widely accepted as the werewolf scan. As we can see, it's hunched over in a somewhat bad way. We can also see the skull is definitely not a human skull, and the X-ray appears to have 4 eyes too. Also, some people believe that this stuff on the side, whatever it is, could actually be blood. The third bit of evidence that people realised were the inmates in the mission finding Johnny Vincent. After freeing Johnny, the player can either stay and either attack or watch a fight break out between the orderlies and the inmates. However, all of the inmates in this mission have a very peculiar fighting style. If provoked, or you can just watch them attack the orderlies, you can see the method of fighting in this mission is to actually pounce and bite people. Also when fighting, they also seem to crouch and hop quite a bit, which is very unusual compared to everybody else in the asylum. Now some people believe this is fact that either Leon or Henry, or this other guy, whatever his name is, are werewolves. Now this actually did seem to match up with the other two bits of evidence quite well, as the howling was near the jocks and greasers area, which is actually not that far away from the asylum, and well, of course these three are in the asylum. Now theories were thrown around a bit like the werewolf could be met after completing this mission, as it appears all the inmates escaped, and this was further backed up by an errand unlocked after this mission. However, I'll cover more on these how to meet the werewolf theories later. Now as said for the third time, some believe the boarded up caves might have contained this creature, as there's two cave areas which are a bit unusual, one being which seems to be an abandoned railway track, well, sort of, and the other leading to the outskirts of Bulworth Vale, specifically the sea and, the pirate ship area. Now, on the subject of that, other players claim that because of the UFO abduction scene from collecting all the Hobos transistors, and the fact there's an actual downed pirate ship with an actual pirate fight, could imply that a werewolf encounter isn't exactly that far of a stretch, even if it's just for an Easter egg. Now speaking of that, this theory did actually have some backing to it, as the pirate you fight is actually Vance Medici, who wears this exact outfit during Halloween, and technically speaking, Trevor, a non-click student, also wears a werewolf outfit during Halloween too. So some believe there'd be a small encounter with Trevor, but as a werewolf in the woods somewhere. Now dedicated myth hunters believe the werewolf mask that Jimmy obtains from picking lockers was a sign the werewolf might exist, or give us a slight hint of what this creature looked like, as this mask has red eyes, scars above the eye and dark brown fur. However, like with all Rockstar mysteries, people took this as a weird hint, claiming that Gary Smith might be the werewolf because of the scar. However, this was quickly disproven as people point out the scars on Gary's face and the scars on the werewolf mask weren't the same. I also recall somebody saying that Jimmy Hopkins might be the werewolf, because there was a theory that's why Jimmy collapses suddenly at 2 AM and wakes up without his shoes. But once again, this was disproved quickly, because if Jimmy was a werewolf, he probably would have spawned elsewhere in the map, and it probably wouldn't just affect him when he goes to sleep like in his dorm or whatever. And lastly, Rockstar Games are quoted as saying there is something in the woods. but this was misquoted as Rockstar were addressing the back of Beyond mysteries from GTA San Andreas. You know, like Bigfoot, ghost cars and Leatherface and all that. Now this quote sadly doesn't have anything to do with Buddy, but was quickly debunked because of it. So unlike many GTA myths, there's quite a lot of evidence and hints to support a werewolf existing in Bulworth, and so began the massive influx of supposed guides on how to meet this character. Now some of these rumours were more common than others, so let's begin with the inmate theory, which is a lesser popular one. It is said after finishing finding Johnny Vincent you can meet the werewolf, as it's heavily implied all of the inmates escaped the asylum, and this is backed up by an errand given to you by Gregory after this mission, as he asks you to collect Henry and Otto, but not Leon or, well, this other guy, strangely enough. Now some took this as Leon or that other inmate might actually be a secret encounter and it's up to you to find them. Now theories range from being near Leon or Henry at night, to where, you know, these two might transform into werewolves, or, you know, a secret encounter where you had to find this other inmate. However, the staying near Leon or Henry theory was debunked really quickly when players realised that Leon or Henry didn't transform at night, nor did any of them actually act any weirder. Now what's also strange is this one inmate who's never seen again, so some people theorise he might be the werewolf after all. However, there wasn't really much to this as, you know, for some strange reason this person is only seen once in the entire game, and that's in Finding Johnny, well, not just in Finding Johnny Vincent, he also appears in Galloway Away, but you know what I mean, he actually only appears in these two missions but he's never seen again in free mode, which is really unusual for Rockstar to create a character like this and to just, like, never use him at all, if you know what I mean. Of course, this guy could be part of beta content, or, you know, Rockstar might be planning more for him, but sadly we may never know. Another theory that was thrown around was to be inside Happy Vaults at night, or well, on the asylum grounds should I say, and you might see the werewolf outside. He is said to be tougher than most characters in the game and fights with Leon's asylum style. And you've probably already guessed it, but many of these theories are all variations on be here at night, but I'll admit I really like the events that supposedly happen if you meet him, which is a bit like Bigfoot or Leatherface in San Andreas again. Now apparently fighting the werewolf in the woodland areas would give you a unique werewolf outfit, which surprisingly isn't that far fetched as we do beat up pirates and, well, quite a few of Buddy's outfits are a bit out there if you know what I mean, like we do have a full alien suit, ninja, gnome and elf, and we do have the werewolf mask. It's certainly one of the more believable ones, as this does sound like Buddy's kind of secrets, instead of some like 12-step Easter egg or something like that you'd see in Call of Duty Zombies. Now one other method I recall reading and believing myself was if you waited around the woodland area at 2 AM, there was a rare chance that the werewolf, who was using Trevor's appearance, you know, for Halloween, might appear suddenly behind Jimmy as a little jump scare kind of Easter egg. I don't mean like jump right in your face and screams kind, but I mean like suddenly appears behind Jimmy without any warning at all. Apparently spinning your camera might have given you a high chance of seeing him. Apparently, if this happened, Jimmy would spawn at the infirmary instead of on the spot, implying the werewolf attacked Jimmy. So as more rumours of the werewolf surfaced, so did the videos of myth hunting and screenshots. In YouTube's early days, from about like 2007 to 2010, instead of having full-on edited videos like this, most myth hunters for GTA and Buddy just put a camera up to their TV in like 240p quality and spent about 3 minutes running around to the X-Files theme. Maybe with the occasional cutaway to a title card from Windows Movie Maker. And sometimes of course you would have those fake videos which ended up with a visit from the Exorcist girl or some other zombie-like creature or other terrifying face popping up with a loud scream. But thankfully those were very rare in the Buddy myth hunting community, unlike the GTA one where it's pretty much a minefield for screamers at the time. YouTube veterans know what I'm talking about here. Also shout out to Buddy myth hunter veteran Wow Lepio, I think that's how you pronounce it, I'm not sure, because before the era of me and Swagder, he was actually the one providing the info for the myths of Buddy. It's just a shame he gave up in like 2011. Anyway, during many of these videos, even though comments were much rarer than nowadays, comments on these videos often point out something unusual like a possible shadow at a specific time frame or more commenters confirming they met the werewolf somehow. And this trend seemed to carry on for years, often with the same result, with no werewolf appearing at midnight or 2 AM or whatever. So as time went on, people grew more and more weary of the werewolf existing, with no actual evidence ever surfacing, and the werewolf was being confirmed as fake as time went on. However, sometime around the early 2010s, I think it's around 2012, when people started to data mine the PC version of Buddy to see any traces of the werewolf, such as models, codes and sounds. Now admittedly, this was a mixed bag, as surprisingly, the wolf howls are their own separate ambient sound, which actually did give some credit to the werewolf encounter rumour. For example, like the howls would play if the wolf was near. Also, this did disprove the coyote sound theory, as there is no sense for a coyote, but there is a wolf. However, this is where the positivity ended, as the only other werewolf findings that were found was stuff we already knew. For example, the werewolf mask of Jimmy and Trevor's Halloween appearance. Some people still held the belief that Trevor's Halloween appearance was the actual werewolf, but sadly nothing else was actually found. There are no scripts or leftovers that imply a werewolf encounter or anything like it. The entire myth was proven to be fake. There was no werewolf encounter, no secret missions or characters, nothing. But as the game got more and more data mined, the werewolf myth just pretty much faded away entirely. Even though some channels might still cover the myth, it doesn't carry the same stigma as it did in the late 2000s. So with that, it brings an end to the story of Buddy's werewolf myth. Nowadays it doesn't get mentioned much, but as a long-time Buddy fan, it certainly did play a massive role in Buddy's history and part of the Rockstar myth hunting community in general. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to subscribe for more Buddy content. If you want to support me in a more personal way, become a member of my channel. And I hope to see you all at the next video. Thank you for watching.